We use the word good in many ways. We say things like, this book is really good, coffee is so good, and he really lived a good life. But there's a difference between, say, a good life and a good cup of coffee. Our big question is, what makes a life good? So today, we're going to talk about what it means for something to be good in the first place. St. Augustine, following Plato, claims that goodness is something we all seek or aspire to. Goodness, in other words, has a deep natural attraction. When we're talking about some particular thing, one way to ask the question of what makes it good is to ask, what is it about this thing that makes it so naturally attractive? When we're talking about coffee, the answer will be things like the delicious smell and taste of it, maybe the bump in mood and concentration that it brings about. But our question is much bigger and more difficult. What makes an entire life good? To start answering this question, let's consider particular things that could be a part of your life that you might find naturally attractive. Things like spending time with your family, enjoying delicious food, watching Notre Dame football, maintaining your physical health. Because we want a general answer to our question, we need to sort through which of these things is essential to a good life and which of these things are good but not essential. Family is incredibly important. We wouldn't trade our loved ones for $1 million. So let's put family over here, clearly in the essential circle. Virtually no one thinks that junk food, although it is really good, is necessary for a good life. So we're going to put junk food over here in the non-essential circle. Now it's time for a hard decision. Is watching Notre Dame football essential for living a good life? I don't want to alienate my base here, so I'm going to let you guys all decide that one on your own. It seems clear that maintaining physical health, at least insofar as it's possible for you, is essential to living well, so we'll put health over here in the essential circle. What we've been doing is sorting through some particular human goods. But the question philosophers like Aristotle, Plato, and Augustine were interested in is the question of what makes a whole life good. Now, this might seem like too big a question for us to even answer, but don't worry, we're actually already halfway there. Remember the circle of essential goods. According to one important philosophical tradition, a good life is just one in which all of these things are arranged in the right sort of way. Once we've identified all the goods we think are essential, then all we have to do is figure out how they should be arranged in a well-lived life. But how should we do the arranging? After all, life doesn't come with an instruction manual. For an Aristotelian philosopher, there are 3 concrete strategies you can use to start to figure out how to build your good life. First, you might already have an idea as to what the purpose or function of a human life is. You might think it's to study and learn as much as you can, or to achieve excellence in sports, or to fight for justice in the public sphere. Here's a second strategy you can use. Pull out your planner. Ask yourself, what do I already prioritize in my life? And is this a good thing? What we do with our time says a lot about what we value. And you're probably already committed to a lifestyle that you think is excellent, even if you're not always living up to your standards. Finally, you might ask yourself the question, who do I know who is already living well? And what does his or her life look like? The key takeaway is this. There are various ways of trying to figure out what makes a life good. You've probably been experimenting with them for your entire life. Philosophy can help you on this journey by providing you with food for thought, by giving you ways of explaining the strategies towards happiness that you're already pursuing. And if you find yourself thinking that there's got to be something more, maybe it's time to ask whether something's missing from your circle of essential goods, or to ask whether you haven't quite put the individual items in that circle into their proper order. It's important to remember, too, that you're not the only one asking these questions. They've been around for a long, long time, and they're something that we as philosophers are working on finding better answers to every day.